Hello and welcome on in to Western College Football today. And we have had a long week, so sorry that the graphics are a little lackluster here. Um, but we were just pressed for time a lot here this week. All Time Central, of course, on SN. So again, tune on in every Saturday right here for SN College Football today. We did get most of the graphics done for the actual picks, so that shouldn't be a problem. So we got this big game, Notre Dame and Georgia, top 7 matchup here. Notre Dame, an independent here. There's a lot to live up to here for Notre Dame. They unbeaten last year. They weren't really tested. This year, they go to Athens to play Georgia, and then they have to go to Ann Arbor to play Michigan. So if they run the table, they're clearly going to be good enough for the college football playoff. But of course, this is all early, and this is all about tonight's game against Georgia on CBS. This would be a big one for the country if Georgia loses here, because that would kind of really put a dent in the SEC's goal of putting 2 teams into the college football playoff. And now let's go on over to the picks, and let's get some picks on in. Of course, the other big game today, Michigan, Wisconsin, 11 a.m. Central Time on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Okay. We're going to get these picks in just a moment. Okay, so another big game on CBS 2:30. We've got the game between Auburn and A&M. I still have to sign the Golden Games for this week. As you probably know, we're gonna do Michigan, Wisconsin, Auburn A&M, and of course Notre Dame, Georgia. All gonna be worth 2 points this week. Because if you know who's gonna win the big games, well, it's a lot better than knowing who's gonna win between like Alabama and whoever they play today. Which I probably don't want to know. Okay. Michigan, Wisconsin, we're going to save for a little bit later. We're going to start Michigan State and Northwestern. I'm going to go with Michigan State. They're going to bounce back this week. Northwestern hasn't looked that good this season. Michigan State will play a lot better against Big Ten competition, because that's really who they're built to play. And ASU is just a different kind of team. They're going to beat Northwestern today handily. Tennessee, Florida, pretty easy one. Going to go Florida. Not much about that. UConn, Indiana. Go Indiana at home. They had tailgate there this morning. Boston College and Rutgers. We're going to go with, on this one, this is a tough one. But Boston College losing to Kansas last week, I think they're going to come back this week and beat Rutgers in Piscataway. LSU, Vandy. I'm going to go with LSU. They're going to get it done on the road. Cal and Ole Miss. I'm going to go with the I don't know who to go with in this one. This is a pretty good game. I'm going to go Cal on the road to get it done. Pretty long shot of a pick here, but I don't know. Pretty tough to... We're going to save that one for later. Yeah, ABC, ESPN2, depending on your region. You'll get either this one or Washington BYU on ABC. The other one on ESPN2. We're going to go with UCF. On the road, going to beat Pitt. Washington and BYU. Chris Peterson's going to get it done with Washington today. Big loss to Cal 2 weeks ago. Now they got to bounce back and play well today. Miami of Ohio against Ohio State. Buckeyes are going to get it done. Louisville, Florida State. We're going to go with FSU at home. Been a rough season for FSU. This might be the week they finally get on track. The game ESPN 2:30 Central Time. Kentucky and Mississippi State. We're going to go with Mississippi State here. I'm going to tell you why. They're home. And I think that they match up well with Kentucky. Kentucky, they probably don't match up too well against Mississippi State. I mean, it's an SEC West team. We'll just have to see how this one matches up today on SEC Network. South Carolina and Missouri. We're going to go with Missouri to win this one. That's pretty much all I got. I don't know much about those two teams. I know that Missouri did kind of beat West Virginia up. Oregon, Stanford, we're now in prime time on ESPN. This one's tough, but I'm going to go Oregon. Had a lot less controversy, injuries, and all that stuff. I think that gives them a slight advantage today. Baylor, Rice. Going to go Baylor. Old Dominion, Virginia. We're going to go Virginia. San Jose State, Arkansas. We're going to go Arkansas. Don't know why they give us so many bad games here in prime time. Oklahoma State taking on Texas. I'm going to go Texas. Oklahoma State, though, they're big dogs in this game. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think Texas will win it. Maybe by 2 possessions. Maybe a 10-point game. Texas will show up tonight. They know that Big 12 conference play is going to mean a lot, especially the fact that they got to get Oklahoma, who is a really good team. So if they want to get to the Big 12 championship, they cannot afford to lose to Oklahoma State here tonight. We go Clemson over Charlotte. We're going to save that one for just a moment more. We're going to go down to the late ones real quick here. Utah State, San Diego State. We're going to go San Diego State. UCLA taking on Wash State. We got Cougars. Colorado and ASU. Go ASU here. Colorado has been up and down. I think ASU at home going to get this one done. Nebraska and Illinois, BTN prime time. Going to go with Nebraska. Going to get a road win here tonight on BTN. And now we're going to get 3 big ones. We're going to start with Auburn and A&M. I'm going to go... This is a tough one, but I'm going to go with Auburn on the road. Going to get it done. Going to be interesting who wins this one. I mean, it's such a big matchup, but it's so overshadowed by the other one, the non-conference game between Notre Dame and Georgia. Genuinely a big matchup there. Michigan, Wisconsin on Fox. Big noon Saturday. I'm going to go with Michigan on the road. Going to get it done. Nothing. Nothing to see out of the Army game. They lost to Army, or they didn't lose to Army, but they kind of did at the same time, if you know what I mean. Okay. Then, last but not least, of course not, Notre Dame and Georgia. On CBS, we're going to go with Georgia at home. Sorry to say this for all the Notre Dame fans, but alrighty, so that is going to do it for us. Right here on SN College Football Today. We will see you next Saturday. Ohio State, Nebraska, just one of many pretty decent games next week. There's no game, there's no top 10 matchups next week, but we also get USC and Washington, which might be our big game of the week. Of course, just putting Ohio State and Nebraska as a filler for that's going to be the primetime headline next week. There's going to be three decent games in the middle of the day. I mean, not really a great game on Big Noon Saturday next week. Because, I mean, there's a lot of teams on byes this week, and we're kind of lucky to get these good games here. But because everyone's got 2 byes, there's going to be a lot of weeks where there's only 1 or 2 good games instead of maybe last year we had like 3 good games every single week. But because we're playing an extra week of football, it's going to be a little less important every week. Every week's going to be a little less, but it's going to be more for those smaller schools who usually don't get exposure. They're going to get a little more this year. I know I'm saying this in week 4, but usually teams will start having their first bye week this week. That's true for Iowa this week. They get a non-conference. They're the only team in the Big Ten with a non-conference game next week, I think. They get Middle Tennessee next week. But of course, Michigan has a non-conference game much later down the road against Notre Dame, which that's going to be a good one. We're looking forward to that. But still, there's going to be a lot of good matchups coming up. Maybe not next week, but in 2 weeks. If we're looking down the road here, let's look in the Big Ten here. Week number 5 is next week. Penn State, Maryland on Thursday night. Big Ten's got 2 games on ABC on Saturday. So that's kind of saying something. ABC's got a lot of rights, and that they're going to pick 2 Big Ten games to be on their channel. That's pretty good. Then the following week, we got Iowa, Michigan, probably going to be big noon. The way it's looking right now, I'm assuming that Fox is actually going to have the Fox this week, they have Michigan, Wisconsin, and that's it. And plus the BTN games, which really don't count, though. Next week, they only have the Friday night game on FS1 between Penn State and Maryland. So week 6, I'm assuming they're going to have at least probably 3 games. 2 games at least. BTN's probably going to have some games because it looks like ESPN already going to have 3 games in their lineup. So you'd think Iowa, Michigan would be on Fox, big noon. I mean, Northwestern, Nebraska, that's probably Fox or FS1. Illinois, Minnesota, Maryland, Rutgers probably going to be slated on BTN. Because BTN usually has at least 2 games. So Maryland, Rutgers could be the 11 a.m. game on BTN. And Illinois, Minnesota, probably the 2:30 BTN. Then we look down at week 7. Again, Penn State, Iowa, the only top 25 game right now. Michigan State, Wisconsin, though, that's a good game. I mean, it's not top 25, but it's a solid football game. Look down at week 8. And again, Michigan, Penn State. And also Ohio State, Northwestern on a Friday night, which is on FS1. So Michigan, Penn State might be on ABC Saturday night, maybe. But I think they stopped Saturday night games in the Big Ten the first week in November. And then it really gets good October 26th. Because we've got Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Notre Dame, Michigan. It looks like Wisconsin, Ohio State might be big noon, potentially. Because Notre Dame, Michigan's already going to be on ESPN. Family of networks. Iowa, Wisconsin. The fall in week 11. 12. Maybe Wisconsin, Nebraska, Michigan State, Michigan, the 2 games that you want. Week 13. Penn State, Ohio State, and then week 14. Of course, BTN already has Iowa, Nebraska, Ohio State, Michigan, sitting on Fox. ABC would probably pick up the second game on November 30th. They would probably pick up, right now that would be, to me, at this moment in time, I'd take maybe Maryland, Michigan State, or Wisconsin, Minnesota. Those are the only, like, Indiana, Purdue's good, but it's not really good nationally. So that'll do it for us here on SN College Football today. I mean, we still got a lot ahead of us. We're only in week 4. Notre Dame, still a lot of big games left to play. Pac-12, I mean, last night, Utah struggled with USC. Pac-12 might be out of it. They might have one team that's potentially in the race. I mean, I wouldn't say it's over for Oregon right now. Wouldn't say it's over for Utah. But the chance that they're going to get is going to be very slim now that they lost a game. And in the fashion that some of these teams are losing, it's kind of heartbreaking. The fact that Washington loses in a game that had weather delays forever, it seemed like. I mean, we'll just have to see. That'll do it for us. Peace out. See you next time.